There are moments that sneak up on you, moments that feel so small in the beginning but stay with you forever. I never expected it to happen at home, in the place I felt the safest. And I never expected her to be the reason my world suddenly felt confusing. Before I tell you what happened, you need to understand how it all began. My dad, Richard, had always been the practical, hardworking type. A man of routine. He fixed what was broken, worked long hours, and rarely showed much emotion. After my mom passed away, it took him years just to smile again. He buried himself in work, and I could see the loneliness wearing him down even if he never admitted it. So when he met Lily, I was relieved. She was nothing like my mom. My mother had been gentle, soft-spoken, reserved. Lily was bold, full of life, and unapologetically vibrant. She laughed loud, talked with her hands, and carried herself with a kind of confidence that filled the room. She made my dad happy, and for me, that was enough. At first, I thought her efforts to bond with me were just that, efforts. She cooked my favorite meals, asked me questions about school, remembered details from conversations most people would forget. I figured she was just trying to prove she belonged in our lives. But as time went on, something about her attention started to feel different. It was subtle. The way her hand would linger a moment too long when brushing lint from my shirt. The way her laugh seemed warmer, softer, when it was directed at me. I told myself I was being paranoid. Maybe I just wasn't used to seeing my dad with someone new. Maybe I was overthinking. But that uneasy feeling kept creeping back, no matter how hard I tried to ignore it. One night, I was sitting on the couch, laptop balanced on my knees, working on a project. Lily sat down on the other end, casual at first. She asked me about my plans after graduation. We talked about college, jobs, even relationships. Then she said something that made me freeze. "It's hard to find real connection, even in marriage," she murmured, her voice quiet but heavy with meaning. I didn't know how to respond. Her eyes had this faraway look, a kind of vulnerability I'd never seen from her before. And when she glanced at me, there was a faint, unreadable smile that only deepened the tension in the room. For a moment, it felt like something unspoken was hanging in the air between us. Then my dad's voice echoed down the hall, calling for his phone. Just like that, the moment shattered. Lily leaned back, her expression shifting to neutral, and I muttered something about checking the kitchen before retreating to my room. My heart was pounding, and no matter how much I told myself I had imagined it, I couldn't forget the look in her eyes or how it made me feel. That night I lay awake, replaying every detail. The way she had spoken, the silence that lingered, the electricity in the air. I hated how curious I felt. I hated the confusion, the way my thoughts wandered where they shouldn't. But the memory clung to me, sharp and undeniable. The next evening, the tension was even worse. My dad had left on a business trip, something he did often. Normally, I didn't mind, but this time, the house felt heavier. I avoided Lily, staying in my room, distracting myself with homework and music. But just when I thought I was in the clear, there was a knock at my door. I made dinner. "You hungry?" her voice called softly. I hesitated before answering yes. I couldn't think of a reason to say no without raising questions. When I came downstairs, the table stopped me cold. Candles flickered between plates of two of my favorite dishes. Lily greeted me with a gentle smile, almost relieved. We ate mostly in silence, but she was different that night, quieter, thoughtful, almost fragile. She opened up about her struggles, how lonely the house felt when my dad was away, how uncertain she had been about her place in the world before she met him. Her voice trembled slightly as she traced the rim of her glass. And then, just for a moment, her hand reached across the table and brushed mine. It was brief, but it felt like time froze. My pulse quickened, and I know she saw it. Her cheeks flushed, and without a word, she gathered the plates and carried them into the kitchen, leaving me stunned. That night, I heard her moving around the kitchen long after everything was cleaned. I stayed upstairs, telling myself it hadn't meant anything, that she was just lonely, that I was imagining things. But deep down, I wasn't convinced. The following days were worse. I couldn't look at her the same way. She carried on as if nothing had happened, kind, attentive, the perfect wife to my dad. But I was hyper-aware of every look, every word, every moment. One night, while I was studying, she came into the room and sat across from me. She didn't say much, just scrolled through her phone. But her presence alone unraveled me. When she finally asked if I was okay, I muttered something about school. She gave me a small smile, one that felt like it held secrets I didn't want to name. Later that evening, my dad called. Hearing his cheerful voice made the guilt crash over me like a wave. He had no idea. He trusted both of us completely. And yet, something unspoken was brewing beneath the surface, something I couldn't bring myself to admit even to myself. I began avoiding Lily altogether. I stayed out late, buried myself in distractions, anything to keep from being alone with her. But no matter how far I ran, the memory of her hand on mine at that dinner table haunted me. The possibility of what it might have meant lingered like a shadow. When my dad finally came home, relief and shame tangled inside me. Watching him hug her, so happy, so unaware, made my stomach twist. She looked at ease again, smiling like nothing had ever happened. And I couldn't tell if she was hiding something or if I had simply made it all up in my head. I told myself I had to let it go. Whatever it was, or wasn't, it couldn't consume me. I had to focus on my future, on school, on moving forward. But even now, when I close my eyes, I remember the way she looked at me, the way her hand felt on mine, and the silence that stretched too long to be meaningless. And the hardest part, I still don't know if I imagined it, or if she felt it too.